Hello, everyone. Dr. Angela here. You know what today is? Today is Monday. So, you know what I'm going to say? Hello, Monday. I am so glad that you are here. Today we are talking about celebrating success. That's right, we're talking about success today. Yes! Let's celebrate our successes. Absolutely. You know, we don't do that enough. And I'm not talking about becoming a braggart. Right? Nobody wants to be around that guy or that gal who's always talking about everything that you've done. You know, I have done this and nobody wants to be around that person. So let's make sure that before we get started, that you understand what I mean. I'm talking about celebrating your successes. Is there a goal that you have been trying to reach for quite some time? You are determined to get to 100 whatever, 1,000 whatever. Perhaps it's something that's really big. You're trying to do, 500,000 of something or 10 million of something. Absolutely. Celebrate that achievement. Even if it's something as simple as taking yourself out to an awesome or amazing lunch or dinner. If it's doing something like giving yourself that well-deserved massage at that spa that you've been eyeballing for the past few weeks or months, or even for the past year. People reward themselves differently. So depending on where you are in the world, depending on where you are monetarily or financially, reward yourself accordingly. There's one person that I follow on Instagram, and she has done amazing things for amazing folks, and she just purchased a Rolls Royce for herself. Absolutely. Celebrate. This is not her first year making $1 million. This is not her first 6 months making $1 million. You see where I'm going here? So that was something that she wanted to do. I applaud my sister. I applaud her. Absolutely. Live your best life, right? So according to those things that are important to you. Now, today is not a day that we're talking about faith. However, I know that faith is really important to many of you. You may not be of the same faith that I am, but there are certain rules, certain dictates, certain parameters, boundaries, borders, whatever you want to label it as, certain directives that tell you what you can and cannot do. By all means, don't cross those. I want you to feel spiritually that you are not doing anything out of order or out of line. Now, with that being said, I want you to celebrate your success. Now, you guys know what I do here on Hello Monday. I talk about a particular topic, and then I give you 5 quotes to keep you fired up for the week. So, we are talking about what? Celebrating success. So, I'm going to give you 5 quotes that talk about success. Now, if you did not realize that you are able to chat with me while I am live, you can most definitely do that. We want you to join me here and feel free to chit chat with me. I have no problems in doing that. Now, we are talking about celebrating success. So quote number 1, are you ready? Quote number 1. The more you praise and celebrate your life, the more there is in life to celebrate. Okay, mic drop. Maybe I should have left that one for last, right? Like, there we go. Boom. Straight out of the gate, there's the fact. There is the subtitle, the text, and the wrap-up all in one. The more you praise, right? Thank you, God. An answer to a prayer. You're telling it, you're witnessing, you're testifying in church, you're putting it in the newsletter, you're sharing it with everybody, you're posting it on your Facebook page, on your Instagram, right? The more you praise, thank God that this has happened, and celebrate, woohoo, look at what my team has done in your life. The more there is in life to celebrate. Now, why does that make sense? Because we have a tendency to magnify, unfortunately, the thing that is wrong instead of magnifying the thing that is true, that is correct, that is wonderful. Because for some reason, someone has told you that if you only celebrate the good, that you're being delusional, that you are in denial if you don't deal with the bad stuff. Nobody said don't deal with the bad stuff. Deal with the bad stuff. Absolutely. Is the bill due? Pay it. Do you need to go help someone who has managed to get themselves into a situation? Help that friend if you are able to. Or if you know someone who can assist them and it's in a ballpark that isn't familiar to you, then help that person however you can. Do those things. Deal with the things that need to be dealt with. But if you're going to do that, then the flip side of the coin is celebrate the things that need to be celebrated. Now, unfortunately, we live in a society and in a culture that it seems like people don't want to be balanced. They want to be on one side or the other. Let's stop doing that. Let's look at the reality of a situation, and the reality is that life goes up and down. It ebbs and it flows. The same way that there is a sun and a moon. There is sunshine and there is rain. There's warm weather and cold weather, right? There's always going to be this duality in our lives. So there's no reason in thinking that if you can sit there and be some kind of way about the things that aren't going well, then you should be able to, what? Celebrate the successes. Stop only being stuck in your story of the things that have happened to you that have put you onto the negative side of things, or as I like to say, the less than positive side of life. Let's dip our toe into that positivity pool as often as we possibly can. So the quote is, the more you praise and celebrate your life, the more there is in life to celebrate. I have to say a hearty amen to that. Let's go on to quote number 2. Celebrate what you've accomplished, but raise the bar a little higher each time. Let's look at that quote again. Celebrate what you've accomplished, but raise the bar a little higher each time. Absolutely. Absolutely. And why is that important? Because you don't want to become stagnant, right? So let's say that your goal was to sell 100 of whatever it is that you have, right? Be it that you have a product, a service, or you're trying to sell, a program, whatever it is, you're trying to sell 100. And you sold 100. Great. You now know how to successfully sell 100. So that means that your next goal, the next week, the next month, however you break yours down, is to not just sell 100 because you've already done that, right? So now you want to maintain that 100. You now want to do even more. So what's your goal? You can be realistic and say, hey, I've never done this before. I don't really know. So I want to stretch, but I still want to make it something that is obtainable. Shoot for 250. Or maybe you really want to stretch and go, you know what? In 2 months, 2 weeks, 3 months, 3 weeks, a month, whatever it is, I'm going for 500. Go! Set the bar a little higher. Now, I know that for many people that are going, Dr. Angela, that seems really scary. Great. Absolutely. It should. If it's not frightening you every time you raise the bar, if it's not giving you cause to pause and really step back and look at that number and go, woo, all right, then you're not fired up enough about your own goal. You're not fired up enough about your product or service, right? I want you to stop limiting yourself. Stop thinking that you have to have this low amount of something, that you have to have this menial amount of something. You are amazing. You are awesome. You are what someone is waiting for. You better put that product or service out there. Let them know that it is available because you have the potential to save or change someone's life. Save somebody's life, Dr. Angela. Are you serious? Yes. You may have that product, that service, that gets that person fired up about whatever it is that they are supposed to be fired up about, right? You give them the motivation, the inspiration, the encouragement to go out and do whatever it is that they have been purposed and called to do. And because of that, they are now walking in and on purpose. And when they do that, they are now sharing their sunshine, their hope, their optimism with someone else, and they are able to feed their family, stay in their home, achieve those goals, make the world spin in their little section, right? We never think about how what we do affects other people. Instead, we want to just say and do whatever it is that we want to say and do. Well, we have to be mindful in that. So if we're going to be mindful in all things, then in all things be mindful. Don't just think about, well, should I say this or not say this? Like as far as hurting someone's feelings. Absolutely think that over. Ponder as long as you need to. The answer is probably don't hurt that person's feelings, right? Say it respectfully, but you don't have to be malicious in your speech. Well, the flip side of that is, should I or shouldn't I put out this service? If it's going to help someone, put out the service, release the product, do what needs to be done. Because again, someone needs what you have to offer. And that is going to be the thing that motivates them to get the wheels going, and then they can walk in their success. So the quote again says, celebrate what you've accomplished, but raise the bar a little higher each time. Raise the bar. Raise it. If you are uncertain, if you're not sure, if you are really and truly 1000% frightened, and we're going to use that 100 example again, up it to 110, 125, right? I tell you what, let's really stretch in a frightened way up it to 101. Now someone's laughing is going, Dr. Angela, that is crazy. But for somebody, that 101, just that extra one is causing them such anxiety, right? Just the thought of even doing 100 again causes them angst. So if you're really that shook about raising the bar, raise it just one, but raise it. Don't just sit back on your laurels. Don't just be happy with what you have achieved. Press yourself each and every week, month, quarter, whatever it is, however you tally what you do. Challenge yourself. Every time you reach that benchmark, that becomes your new baseline, right? Do you think that companies that make $1 million in a quarter go, oh, that was amazing. Good job, team. Good job. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and go back to making $500,000 next quarter. Absolutely not. They look at what worked. They keep that. They tweak what needs to be tweaked, and that becomes their new baseline. Hey, we hit it once. We're going to hit it again. Why? Because now that we know that we can, our new target is $2.5 million. Our new target is 5, right? Million. Not going backwards, but moving forward. Every big business used to be small. So if you're saying, I'm a small business, Dr. Angela, it's just me. Well, welcome to the solopreneur world. Absolutely. I hear you. I understand. Make it happen applies to you as well. All right. Now let's go on to quote number 3. Quote number 3 says, the first step towards getting somewhere is to decide you're not going to stay where you are. Let's read it again. The first step towards getting somewhere is to decide you're not going to stay where you are. Absolutely. We cannot allow ourselves to stay stagnant, right? You have to increase. You have to ever move forward. You have to make sure that you are not allowing yourselves to be pulled back into old, unsuccessful, unnecessary habits. That tends to be something that people do if they're not moving forward, right? I know that you guys have read the memes, you've seen the postings, especially on Instagram and Facebook, that says, like, if you're the smartest person in your circle, you're in the wrong circle. Now, there's nothing wrong with being a smart person. Let's get that clear. Be brilliant, hon. Be brilliant. Absolutely. But the thing is that when you are the smartest person in the group, those people are looking up to you for the answers. So then it becomes, who are you looking up to? Who's inspiring you? Who's mentoring you in the circle if you're the smartest person? You see the importance of that? So you can still have that circle, because perhaps now your purpose in that circle is to inspire them so that they can become the smartest person in their circle, right? The circle that you're not in. But you have to then make sure that you find another circle so that you can continue to learn. You can continue to be inspired, that you can continue to empower others. So again, when we look at all of these quotes about celebrating our success, I am not telling you to turn into, the jerk who only walks around and talking about yourself, and especially in third person. That's a no. Please don't do that. Don't become that person. But I am telling you that in celebrating your successes, it reminds you of what you are able to do. That's why I like quote number 3. The first step towards getting somewhere. Where is it that you're trying to go? What is it that you're trying to do? What is it that you're trying to accomplish? That's the somewhere, right? The first step towards getting somewhere is to decide you're not going to stay where you are. Not going to stay where you are. Don't. You can do it. You can move forward. You can keep moving forward. You can keep going. Even though you may have had an amazing month, don't stay there. Keep moving forward. Maintain it, but keep pressing yourself to accomplish even more. Now, there is going to come a point where you go, you know what? We are really, really comfortable with doing 5 million, right? We're comfortable doing this. I love it. Let's maintain this 5 million for a while. Okay. But then it's going to shift and you're going to want to branch out and do something else. We're going to maintain this 5 million because we're now going to introduce this other product, this other service. We're going to do this other program. And our goal is to do 1 million with that product, service, whatever it is, right? So it's not that you have limited yourself. It's that you are maintaining one thing. You are shifting some of that energy, your direction, to another thing so that you can get that blossoming, so you can get that going, right? So if the somewhere that you are trying to get to is a break off, is a breakout, is a branch off of something that you're already doing, don't feel that you are doing your original a disservice by maintaining that number. That's awesome. That's awesome. So many times we think that if we do something else, then we can't do another thing. We can do more than one thing at a time. Perhaps it's time for you to hire another team. If you're a solopreneur, Then you know that you hire independent contractors, you have virtual assistants, you have folks that you hire to handle a lot of this business for you. Now, perhaps you are a traditional business and you have employees that come in every day. Amazing. However, perhaps you need to hire 1 to 10 more people so that you can concentrate on that other thing as well. That's growth. That is awesome sauce. If you have never looked at the story of the growth of some of the big businesses that we use or utilize, you should definitely do that. Because you will see some of their founders say, it was really important that I present this particular product or service to the world because this is what the world needs. Then you fast forward 3 years and they say, oh my goodness, we noticed that we needed to add this, that, and the other because it was really trending in that direction. Next thing you know, they're a huge mega business. Mega $1 million business, right? Because they're paying attention to what's going on in the world. And can you solve it? Can you help with that? Are you someone who can step in and be a part of that trend and offer a solution? And by offering that solution, you're causing a ripple effect in the lives of others from a positive point of view. Absolutely. Someone is working because of you. Someone has found the solution, the product, the service, the program that they need because you said, hey, I can do that. And you've stepped up. Celebrate that success. Let's go on to quote number 4. Quote number 4 says, stop letting people who do so little for you control so much of your mind, feelings, and emotions. Stop letting people who do so little for you control so much of your mind, feelings, and emotions. Now, I don't have to explain this. I know I don't have to explain it because you guys are smart people. But I will remind you, stop letting people who do so little for you control so much of you. Stop. Just don't do it anymore. Just determine that you will not allow that person to hold so much real estate in your life, right? They've just pulled up their car in your brain. They've just parked their bus in your heart, right? They're just messing with you and they're not even around. They're off doing something else, but you are all in turmoil. You are thinking about it. You're contemplating it. You're rolling it around in your head. Look, whatever word or phrase you want to use, but you're spending energy on it, right? And that was their goal, just to get you off your game. Stop. Don't allow that person to do that to you because you're awesome in your own right. You don't have to be them. You don't have to be someone else. You have been called to be you, however that is. Now, there may be people around you that disagree with how you do it, right? Because there's always going to be that person that says, you should do it in 2-wheel drive. There's someone that's going to say, you should do it in 4-wheel drive. There's going to be someone who says, you know what, listen, I think you need rear-wheel drive. Nope, you need front-wheel drive. How about this? Walk. Right? So there's always going to be someone who's contemplating how you should do what you are supposed to do. Think about it. If you have little children, your parents are trying to tell you how to raise their grandchildren. Your in-laws are trying to tell you how to raise their grandchildren. Your spouse is trying to tell you how to raise your children. You are trying to tell you how to raise your children. Your siblings are trying to tell you how to raise your children, right? Everybody has an opinion. But what you have to do is sit down and say, whose opinion really has that much value? Whose opinion do I really trust the most? And in this example, you should probably turn to your spouse and say, honey, what are we going to do about our kids? And then determine how it's going to trickle out from there. So if someone is pouncing on you, if someone is trying to tear you down, if someone is speaking negatively in your ear about your business, about your product, your service, your program, your book, whatever it is, right? You need to learn how to filter. Is there any truth to what they're saying? None? Toss it. You don't listen to that anymore. Did they say one thing that may be true? Okay, then take that bit of truth and adjust what needs to be adjusted for that bit of truth. The rest of it is trash. Filter it, sift it, and throw it out. We have to stop giving people, according to the quote, what does it say? Stop letting people who do so little for you control so much of your mind, feelings, and emotions. I could not agree more. Alrighty, so we have quote number 5. We're about to wrap this up, everybody. Quote number 5 says, if I have seen further, it is by standing on the shoulders of giants. If I have seen further, it is by standing on the shoulders of giants. It is so important that we realize that all of the things that we have accomplished, all of the things that we have done, in part is because someone else was the groundbreaker. Someone else was the shatterer of the glass ceiling, right? So unless you are the first person to have done a particular thing, you are probably standing on the shoulders of someone else. You may say, well, Dr. Angela, they didn't get that far. Well, you want to stand on the knee of someone else? The hand up, the boost that they gave you. What it's trying to say is that no one is awesome or amazing all by themselves. It takes teamwork, right? There's someone who is helping you be who you are, and that we need to acknowledge that. Now, you may be the person out there doing the hard work. You may be the face of your company, the person who ultimately has the veto power to make or break everything that happens. Okay, but you are also not coming up with each and everything that you do, because you have team members, right? You have other people that are writing, that are designing, that are being innovative with you. Every great company has a team of innovators, has a team of salespeople, has a team of dreamers, a team of visionaries, right? That's why it's so important to have all of those bits and pieces around us. Now, you may be saying, well, I'm a small business. Well, I'm pretty sure there's somebody that you're running stuff past, even if that person doesn't work for you or with you. You may be throwing some stuff past your mom. You may be asking your grandmother, your pastor. You may be asking a neighbor, but you're talking to someone about the something, right? So in that, we are standing on the hopes, the abilities, the achievements, the life lessons, the lessons learned of the collective. So when a woman does something, it's not just for her, it's for every woman who's going to come behind her. When a man does something, it's not just for him, it's for every man coming behind him, or for every family member that's involved coming behind him. We do not do things solely for ourselves. The end result is that other people will therefore benefit for all of the accomplishments that we make. Good and bad. Let's just keep it real, right? Good and bad. If you do something bad, if you do something that goes against the collective moral compass, but there are some other people who agree with you, then you just made a hole for them as well to get through. The collective group may not agree with you, but you still nonetheless made a hole, right? So if you made that hole, that means that the collective has to go and patch that hole, because that's what the majority says. So good or bad, we are standing on the shoulders of others. Let's make sure that we are making a hole for positivity. Let's make sure that we are making a hole for those things that are proper and true. That when our great-great-great-grandchildren look back at what we did today in this time and space, they won't say, what in the world were they thinking? What were they doing? How could they not have seen how detrimental that was? How could they not see that that was the wrong way to go? Let's not be those folks that leave that for our great-great-grandchildren to read about. Instead, let's celebrate our successes so that there is more in life for us to celebrate. Let's make sure that we raise the bar every time we do something positive that has a great and amazing and awesome rippling effect out to the world. Let's take those steps to go from where we are to where we need to be in positivity. Let's stop allowing people that do so little for us to have such a big impact on who we are. And let's make sure that we acknowledge the shoulders of the giants who have come before us so that we can continue to go where we need to go. Thanks you guys so much for spending this Monday with me. I think that you have enough to keep you fired up and going for the rest of the week. Alrighty, everyone, stay amazing, stay awesome, and I will see you here next week. And if you get down in the middle of the day, I want you to remember this little bit. Celebrate your successes, but I want you to stare Monday in the face. Are you ready for this? Sound effects, here it comes, and say, hello, Monday. How you doing, Monday? Oh, yeah. We're making it happen. We can do it. We rock.